Good day. Welcome. This is Newsmakers, a production of the Rock County Civics Academy. It's a program where we bring to the studio people in the news, sometimes up front in public, other times they're folks behind the scenes that are doing things that truly affect the quality of life we enjoy here in Rock County. And today it's my pleasure to welcome into the studio Kent Anderson, the Executive Director of the Children's Museum of Rock County. Kent, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rich.
It's great to have you. The Children's Museum, it's been an odyssey in many respects, but now we're starting to see the light at the end of the first tunnel. Well, tell us a little bit about what the Executive Director of the Children's Museum is focusing on right now, and what's the timeline going forward to get this operation up and running.
Sure. So my charge right now is getting the business side of the Children's Museum set up, and so my work daily is building policies and procedures, looking at staffing models. I have not run a children's museum before, and so I've made took some visits to Madison, Rockford, Sun Prairie Children's Museum to start to build a network, learn about what they're doing, garner some resources from some of the colleagues in the industry. And so doing a lot of that. We'll continue to do that over the next year. Construction is in full swing. The demolition recently was completed of the old 1950s drive-through portion of the bank. And so we still have the existing historic building standing. And next up, they're going to start adding the new addition on. And we're hoping to have it completed in the fall of 2026 to open and be ready for the Rock County community.
That's a lot of construction and a lot of activity, both public and behind the scenes, that goes on trying to start a small business from scratch. And in many respects, the Children's Museum, as you call it, the Children's Museum is a misnomer, because it's really truly a museum attraction that has a kid's theme, but it's so diverse in the potential exhibits that you can have and the interactive activities that you can have that it almost becomes a children and parents and grandparents and well, a whole family sort of destination. Fair enough?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I think of a museum, I think of an art museum where you go and you're looking at painting and art. Children's Museum is about play and about having hands-on things for kids to do, to be able to learn, grow with each other, socialize with other kids within the community, and also for parents, that need a place to go so their kid can, get some of that energy out in the morning when they're cooped up in the house, or especially during the winter when, you can't go outside. So it's a place where the whole community can come, and we want to make sure that everybody in the Rock County area feels welcome.
You're building a staff from scratch.
Yes.
What sort of what are the mix of jobs that you're trying to create and trying to fill over the course of the next few months? Because before you know it, it's going to be December of 26, and those doors are going to be wide open.
Right on, yeah. So there's a number. So the exhibit piece is something that's new to me, not having run a children's museum before, and so a lot, or actually all of the children's museums I've visited have put a huge emphasis on the exhibits, the maintenance, the programming that goes behind it. And so that will certainly be a position that we'll be hiring for, probably one of the first few positions that we look to hire, so that person can come in and get a really good understanding of the exhibits that are going to be in there, what kind of programming we can put in place. But then, starting to look at what's next, believe it or not. As soon as you open the door, you're going to start looking at how those exhibits will get used, and then what do we need to do to keep them fresh and kind of revitalize those areas as the years go by.
Well, and I'm going to suggest that in many respects, you're like that business that the day you open the doors, that's the first day that you start planning for the new exhibits.
Pretty much, yeah. I've talked to a few museum experts in the field that have been in there 25 plus years, and that's exactly what they've said is as soon as you open the door, you're going to start looking at what else you got to do to add to those exhibits, keep them maintained. That's why people come, or the different exhibits that you have, and so you got to make sure that they're working, they look good, they're well kept, and so.
Well, and the idea is to keep it fresh,
right?
So that you bring people back, but there's always something new and something exciting and something different to entertain the veterans and continue to attract in new folks.
Right.
Who is the target audience in this region that you're trying to bring in through the
Yeah,
door?
so 0 to 8 years old is kind of the
Okay.
target of kids that we're hoping to have come. That's, my son, for example, is 9, 10. He's going to be 10 here shortly, but he loves agriculture. And so we're going to have a big precision ag exhibit on the second floor that he'll probably still use and try out when he's 10 years old when the museum opens. But really 0 to 8 is kind of the main focus. We have a number of areas that are kind of separated out, 0 to 2 infants. And then as they get older, we have a 2-story climber that's going to be in the main bank portion of the facility. We have a big water table that kids will get to use and play in that will represent the Rock County, the Rock River. Yeah.
The whole process of putting a brand new museum into play involves a lot of tasks that are unique and well, very different from the traditional, I'm going to renovate an old historic building and turn it into a commercial office space. This is not a commercial office space,
Right.
and it's got to be unique. And is part of your role helping with the oversight of that construction process?
Yes, partly. Our board has done an amazing job of the fundraising. As we've seen us break ground and get the museum really moving. They said they never wanted to break ground until we had the funds fully raised to build a museum, and so they've done a great job. Our board president, John Westfall, has done an amazing job leading our board to get us to where we are today. And so he serves as the owner rep for the construction. I'm along with him at our progress meetings, making sure that we're making decisions hand in hand and that we're working together to make sure that we're doing what's best for the community and for the museum.
Where did you find the architectural team that had the diverse experience necessary to really design something as captivating as a children's museum?
So locally, Angus Young and Associates is who they selected as the architect, and that's something they'd done before I came on. I've been in this position since about the end of May this year, and so a lot of those things were already determined. Plans were already sketched out, and the layout of the building, and so my objective is to get things set up and be ready that day when we open. That we've thought of everything we could, prepared for everything we could, and then respond accordingly.
One of the mantras I've heard John Westfall speak to many, many times over was this fundraising process was not only to raise the capital necessary to do the renovation, the remodeling, and finalize the purchase of the building and all of those things, but it was also to create an endowment of sorts to guarantee that there's a future for the Children's Museum. That gives you a bit of a buffer, I guess. But is the expectation, the intent that as you grow in attendance, you hopefully get to a point where you've got everything covered by you're not in the hole, and you're not trying to dig your way out of a financial disadvantaged position.
Yeah, so that'll be a lot of my position is that sustainability piece, the annual fundraising that we'll need. I think the gap that is projected is about 200 to 250,000 a year that the board and I will be responsible for fundraising. But also, yes, creating an endowment that will allow us to be sustainable in perpetuity is certainly important. Right now, everything has gone to capital. And so our capital campaign it's pretty close to wrapping up. We have a matching campaign that's finishing this month here at the end of August. But then, our focus then looks at the operational piece. And so,
will this be affordable for most families?
Absolutely. There are the funding models I've seen, and what I would also, from my background and just the work I've done in my past is ensuring that it's accessible for anybody that wants to attend. Most museums I've come across have a type of membership that is either provide a scholarship or a pay what you can type fee. So some families might be $1 today, might be $4 next week. The cost is relatively affordable. Most I've seen are like $8 to $10 per person coming into the museum. And so not only do we want to make sure it's affordable for the general public, we want to make sure anybody, no matter their ability, pay can attend.
And there is sometimes that stigma that it's a museum, and it's as such it's designed and intended for a particular group of people that, in this particular case, I'm guessing is anything but.
Right on. This is a place anybody can come, and that's where we want to make sure that everybody feels welcome, has the access, because it's going to be a great place for the community, and we want to make sure any visitors that want to attend can.
This is your first time in a children's museum,
Correct.
but it's certainly not your first time being in an environment of creating a new facility, doing major fundraising, and putting programming and staffing to support programming for kids in place. Tell us about the odyssey of getting Kent Anderson from where you were to where you are today.
Sure. So I was born and raised in Wisconsin Rapids. Left there after high school and went to University of Wisconsin La Crosse for college. From there, moved to Chicago for 5 years, and moved back to Wisconsin Rapids in 2012. Something I said I would never do. I think there's a lot of kids in high school that say, I'm never coming back to the town when I graduate.
Well, and there's some that would say you can never go home, but
Right,
you did.
Right. But I did, and I was really grateful that I did. And so I started working with the Boys and Girls Club of the Wisconsin Rapids area in 2012. In 2015, I was hired to be the executive director, at which at the time we were going through a capital campaign because we were in a shuttered elementary school. And so we ended up partnering with the Y to build a $28 million facility in Wisconsin Rapids that housed a Boys and Girls Club, a YMCA, and relocated a VA clinic that was already on site. And so working with kids, was always something I was passionate about, and it was just, it kind of was exemplified through that project. And so in 2022, my wife took a job at UW-Whitewater, moved us down here where her family's from, and really, I was working from home for the last couple of years, wasn't looking for a job, was pretty content in what I was doing, but one of my in-laws sent me this job description, and it was like, this is perfect. And so I went through the interview process, was gracious and grateful to get hired.
Well, and the rest is kind of history.
Right.
You're a year and some months away from the grand opening. As you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel materialize, is
a long
there?
ways down
it's a ways down. Is there one or two things in particular that we should be watching for emerge in this special project in downtown? Are there benchmark points that the community should say, boy, they're on their way to meeting that timeline?
Yeah, so one just kind of hit. So we were able to demo the 1950s portion of the drive-through. That's all cleared away, and they're starting to pour some foundations and footings near the existing building. The ones near Franklin Street are going to be able to be preserved and used again. But they just brought a 160-foot crawler crane on site, and they're going to start setting steel here in the next month. That will be part of the new addition. Shortly after that, the concrete slabs that will come in, that will be the walls. And so they're really going to start taking shape. And then by February, they're saying everything's going to be watertight within the building. And so, by February, you should really see a structure that resembles a children's museum.
Well, it's an amazing project. It's a testament to the can-do spirit of the city of Janesville. It's a testament to how, if you put a great choice in front of people, they make the investment.
Right.
And Kent Anderson, thank you for making the investment in Janesville. My guest, Kent Anderson, Executive Director of the Children's Museum of Rock County. We'll have Kent back on occasion just to keep us up to speed on the goings-on as this project comes to fruition. Another step forward, not only in the rejuvenation of downtown Janesville, but frankly, in the rebirth of our community, one that we all take pride in. So, Kent, thank you.
Thank you.
Until the next time and the next Newsmakers, stay involved, folks. Get informed, and you will make a real difference in your community. Have a great day.